and welcome. You're watching DBMN TV. This is Abigail R. Karmalim bringing to you the Salesian news across the globe. On the afternoon of 24th April, the coordinator of the Salesian Bulletin of America, Vicente Friz, spoke at the international meeting for those responsible for the Salesian Bulletin. During his presentation, he gave an overview of the reality of Salesian America made up of the Inter-America and South Cone regions, which include a total of 23 provinces and one vice province. There are a total of 23 countries with a population of about 1 billion. Inter-America, 13 editions of the Salesian Bulletin are published, 9 in the Inter-America region and 4 in the South Cone region. The 13 editions Inter-America, in turn, publish several issues per year between 4 to 12 depending on the possibilities, culture and customs of each place. Don Bosco was a writer, Don Bosco was a journalist, Don Bosco was a great church communicator. He wrote a variety of texts such as hagiographies, historical texts on the church, but also writings on education, religion and formation in general. There are 1,174 of his documents in all. Not only that, our founder was also a journalist. In 1877, he founded the Salesian Bulletin and collaborated with it until his death. The list of his publications developed continuously over the following years, practically until his death. In the 37 volumes of the Opera Edite published by LAS between 1977 and 1987, there are 219 titles including biographies, history texts, prayer manuals, legal texts and regulations, hagiographies, catechisms, edifying stories. Most of these writings are still unknown to the spiritual family that originated from him. He was a generous writer and editor with a 360-degree vision of communication already in his time. He had set up a network that was a movement, Salesians, lay people, friends, with only one goal, to do good and give visibility to good. His creative process was noteworthy. From an idea came a letter, from a letter a book, from a book and editorial series until the establishment of a publishing house and the publication of the Salesian Bulletin. In a virtuous circle, the Salesian Bulletin gave rise to a network of relationships between people. His brilliant mind had the superpower of aggregation. He wrote, thinking of creating a network of readers. He educated, involving friends, confreres and educators. The Salesian congregation came into being from a small group of people. He was the communicator who passionately followed the gospel dynamic of the seed falling into good soil. He thought big. Don Bosco wrote a song and wanted a choir to perform it. Then he wanted an orchestra. The oratory was enriched by a theatre and enlivened with music, liturgy and games in a continuous network of action and involvement. Every communication network started from an inner drive, a dream, a passion, a purpose. His communication system was a real kaleidoscope, a mosaic with colors and drawings. His every gesture was aimed at involving his young people, promoting their active prominence and growth for the glory of God, and thanks to the impulse of merry help of Christians. Today's Salesian Bulletin must be the expression of a magazine that activates a network. It must be a worldwide information channel, a magazine to create bonds, to show the good that Salesians do for poor young people in the world, to express the strength and beauty of love. On 23rd April 2023, the Deutsche Post Marathon took place in Bonn. More than 10,000 runners participated, among them also Don Bosco team. In addition to the sporting challenge, social commitment was in the foreground. The team wanted to draw attention to the situation of street children and collect donations for the Don Bosco House in Nairobi. So far, 1,500 euros of donations have been collected. 4 half-marathon runners and 4 relay teams gave their best. Every step counted because every step brought the runners closer to their goal, supporting children in need. At the end of the marathon day, the team was also rewarded for its athletic performance. One relay team finished fourth and Luke Kelly of the Kelly family ran a new personal record for street children. The Don Bosco Youth Centre campus was filled with a huge number of spectators to witness the Nightingale Voices produced by the Youth Centre at a Sing Out Loud concert held on the 21st April at 5:30 p.m. Reverend Father Paul Olfindo Lingkot, Provincial Shillong Province, Father Jivan Lakra, Father Anthony Karkongor, Father George Rodrich graced the occasion as they praised the vocalists who had displayed their talents to the world by their voices. Speaking on the occasion, the provincial said, "You are specially blessed to have received such a talent from God." He further exclaimed that there is none like each of one of them. He added that they have proved their perfection in every way, for they had mustered all courage to stand out from the rest, and he urged them to never be afraid but trust in God. He encouraged them to strive for their success with perfection. He concluded advising the young vocalists to rejoice, for God loves them. Before the start of the concert, Reverend Father Michael Makri, Director of Don Bosco Youth Centre and the Managing Director of Don Bosco Media Network, warmly welcomed the participants and guests to the Sing Out Loud concert. He praised and thanked all the people behind the scenes who had rendered their services to make the program a success, and he especially extended his appreciation to Miss Lapdyang Akor Solang, a vocal coach, who had tirelessly given her efforts training the young vocalists and enabling them to stand and deliver the sweet melodies they acquired. Reverend Father Michael reminded everyone to exclaiming that St. Don Bosco had always desired for platforms like this to elevate the talents of young people before the world. He emphasized and urged the people, saying, "Love what the young people love. In turn, they will love what you love." He praised and appreciated the parents of the young vocalists for supporting their children to pursue music and singing. The event was evidently a success and eventually concluded with the loud sounds of thunderous clap of a joyous crowd comprising of youngsters, parents and well-wishers. Sunday, 23rd April, at the Church of Our Lady of the Rosary in the city of Manta, a Mass was celebrated on the occasion of the missionary sending of 17 young people from the Salesian family of Ecuador. The ceremony was presided over by Father Marcelo Farfan, Provincial of the Salesians of Ecuador, in the presence of hundreds of people including faithful, family, friends and members of the Salesian family. In his homily, Father Farfan underlined the importance of volunteering as an experience of faith, which becomes an opportunity for service in charity and love towards those in need. The young people who took part in the training course before leaving will now serve children and adolescents in street situations, indigenous communities and peoples of the Sierra and the Amazon and people living in marginalized neighborhoods. A second missionary group will then be sent in the month of August. So viewers, with that we have come to the end of today's edition. Till we meet again, thank you for joining us.